Hello and thank you for tuning in to Millennium Media. So I am admittedly confused about how I feel with Alan Wake 2. We just got done with Gamescom, hosted by Jeff Keighley over in Germany, for opening night live, and the live stream literally just ended a few minutes ago, and it capped off with a look at Alan Wake 2, a new look at Alan Wake 2, because mostly what we've seen so far is, the perspective of the FBI agent character, who I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head right now, but we've mostly seen the gameplay from her point of view, because as the creator Sam Lake and the crew at Remedy have told us, the audience, is that you can play the entire game, you can play an entire playthrough of Alan Wake 2 from either the perspective of the FBI agent character or Alan Wake himself, the title character. Now, that is interesting, but in the same regard, I'm still getting mixed signals, because when we see the FBI agent character's gameplay, the gameplay that they showed us at Summer Games Fest, which was really, really impressive, by the way. The graphics on Alan Wake 2 are just, chef's kiss, right? They look really, really good, and I love the horror vibes and the tone and the dark atmosphere that got, set with that gameplay footage where we saw the FBI agent in the woods, and we saw that sort of third person over the shoulder, like really deep into like the camera, like you feel like you're the character in that moment, when the deer like pops out and it's a jump scare, and then the actual deer, person dude comes out and attacks her. Great stuff right there. That's what makes a great horror game, a great modern horror game, and that stuff looked really cool. It looked really fun to play, and it looks like something that any horror fan would want to get their hands on, myself included. But where I'm starting to get mixed signals is all of that looks great. The technical aspect of that, the tonal aspect of that, the gameplay aspect of that, all looks great. My only problems start to come with now the perspective of Alan Wake. Today the footage that we saw at Gamescom, we're getting a mix of live action and actual gameplay. Now that's no stranger to the Alan Wake franchise, and we've seen that before with the first Alan Wake game, right, where you would come across the little TV station sets and you'd see little snippets of live action vignettes and short films and different news, stories and stuff like that. Weird stuff going on like that, where you got a sense of realism going on inside the world of a video game. That's not new to this franchise, but what is sort of just really off-putting to me is just like how in-depth it looks like they're going into live action. And when you start going more in-depth, like what we saw today, the footage where we saw a lot of the actor who plays Alan Wake, like just live action, like you're watching a movie or a TV show, that's where it starts to create this sort of off-putting vibe to me, where it just really takes me out of the gameplay experience, and you're putting me in this live-action setting where I now feel like I'm sort of just a viewer who's watching these events take place, and I don't feel like I feel like that might take away some of the control that I feel of playing the game, and I don't really like that. It really just kind of turns me off to wanting to play Alan Wake's side of the story. And that's really unfortunate, because I really, really liked the first Alan Wake game. I never got to play it back when it first released because I never owned an Xbox. I've always been Nintendo and PlayStation. Just, I would have liked to have all consoles. I couldn't afford them at the time. And now, that Alan Wake got moved to PlayStation, I finally played it, last year, or I believe 2 years ago now. I had a great time with it, and I really loved it, and I've been looking forward to the sequel. But now, I don't know, I feel like there's sort of something off with the Alan Wake portion of the story, where it just doesn't feel like it's making a lot of sense to me. Now maybe for some of you out there, maybe you're digging this new spin on what they're going for with Alan Wake, in terms of like, I understand for story purposes that, Sam Lake was saying that, Alan Wake has been lost, in this other side. He's not in the real world. He's lost on this other side, and he's created this whole nightmare scenario that he's been living for the past 13 years for. So I understand his reality is being, has become very distorted, and I understand that they're doing this, live action thing for sort of creative reasons. I guess I just don't like it, and I'm just not vibing with it and meshing with it right now. At least the presentation. Now maybe if I get my hands on it, maybe I'll feel a different way. But at least right now, it's just creating this very, I feel like there's two different games that are sort of butting heads right here, where we're getting the true third-person, over-the-shoulder horror game with the FBI agent, and then we're getting like this weird sort of experimental game, live-action, seemingly trying to blend in with gameplay mechanics and gameplay CGI, and, CGI, cutscenes, mixing together. It just, I don't know, it creates a weird mix of like, what is this game really going to become once it's fully out there for us to play? And so I just wanted to get these thoughts out here, because I don't know if anyone else is feeling the same way. If you are feeling the same way, please let me know. Or if you think I'm just totally crazy and just reading into this too much, or maybe I'm just, the weird one here who's in the minority, please let me know, because I really am curious to hear what you guys are thinking about Alan Wake 2, and if you're excited to play it. It did get released, or it did get pushed, the release did get pushed back a couple weeks because there's a ton of games coming out in October, so I believe the new release date is now October 27th, and it's digital only, so yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking about Alan Wake 2, and if you guys are going to play it day one, or is this a game that you might wait a little bit longer and wait till it's on sale to play. Let me know. But as always, if you want to stay up to date on all the latest on Warner movie, TV news, and video game news, you're already in the right place, and I hope you consider subscribing to Millennium Media, because I'd love to have you along for the ride. But until next time, this has been Millennium Movies. I will see you all very soon.